Thank you, Colonel Swanson, and congratulations again to Congressman Winstrup. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Mike Himal with OptumServe.
Thank you, Jen. Good evening, everyone. I'm Mike Himal, and I'm the market leader for military and veterans health at OptumServe. The men and women of OptumServe congratulate all of our tonight's awardees for going above and beyond to represent the very best that military medicine has to offer. As a former Army Medical Service Corps officer and director of Walter Reed National Military Medical Center, it is a privilege to be back among so many of my battle buddies, shipmates, and wingmen, and a privilege to celebrate your achievements with you. Your work, along with the efforts of military medical personnel all across the world, are saving lives and safeguarding the well-being of the men and women in uniform around the world and back home at communities like Las Vegas. And that's why OptumServe and United Health Group have been strong supporters of both this event and the Henry M. Jackson Foundation. Like our award winners and the Jackson Foundation, the team at OptumServe is service-oriented and mission-driven. Our mission is to help people live healthier lives and to make the health system work better for everyone. We pursue this mission by deploying deep capabilities in health policy research, data analytics, healthcare operations, and population health to federal partners like the Department of Defense and the Department of Veterans Affairs as they tackle some of the biggest challenges in healthcare. For the last 30 years, Optum has helped modernize the American healthcare system. Today, we are helping to accelerate VA modernization, support operational readiness in military health, and guide the transition to value-based care, all to meet the unique health needs of those who have served before us, who are serving today, and those who will follow in our footsteps and care for the next generation of America's service members and veterans. Again, from all of us at OptumServe, we applaud tonight's winners. We thank you for your dedication to excellence in military medicine. Thank you again for your service and your time tonight.
Thank you, Mike. Please welcome back Lieutenant General Ediger, who will introduce you to the 2018 Hero of Military Medicine Ambassador Honoree.
It is my distinct honor to introduce to you the Heroes of Military Medicine Ambassador Honorees, the medics of the 99th Medical Group at Nellis Air Force Base in Las Vegas, Nevada. Many think of Nellis Air Force Base as the center of combat air power for the U.S. Air Force. The airmen at Nellis work long hours, but occasionally they have the opportunity to enjoy the phenomenal entertainment in Las Vegas. They had no inkling that an outing with friends to attend a weekend concert would become the tragedy that unfolded at the Harvest Festival on October 1st. Within an instant, they found themselves surrounded by chaos, under deadly attack, and surrounded by many in need of life-saving assistance. 6 medics from Nellis Air Force Base attended the Harvest Festival that evening. As gunfire erupted and rained down on the audience, confusion ensued as people recognized they were under attack, and the number of those with wounds quickly mounted. 3 medical airmen in particular put themselves at considerable and ongoing risk to render life-saving care to the wounded. Staff Sergeant Allison Venegas, Senior Airman Logan Bennett, and Senior Airman Linda Wilson maintained remarkable composure while in the direct line of fire. They directed people to shelter, assessed the wounded, improvised tourniquets, controlled bleeding, moved the wounded, conducted triage, secured transport, and accompanied some wounded to a hospital. Among the many they saved was a seriously wounded police officer. At the University Medical Center of Southern Nevada, known as UMC, 3 Air Force surgeons and 3 Air Force resident surgeons on the medical center staff responded to the emergency, including trauma surgeons Colonel Brandon Snook and Major Charles Chestnut. They performed surgery continuously, hour after hour. Their presence was made possible by the U.S. Air Force partnership with UMC. Within hours after the incident, all the resuscitation bays at UMC were full, and 6 of the most urgent patients were undergoing surgery. Soon, the second wave of patients arrived from other area hospitals which were functioning at beyond capacity. Sunrise Medical Center, UMC, and other area hospitals mounted an extraordinary response in providing care for an overwhelming number of critically wounded people. The Air Force values the partnership with UMC and is pleased that our clinicians were able to contribute. The 99th Medical Group also contributed to the community mental health response through their disaster mental health team that joined Air Force chaplains and Airmen and Family Readiness Center counselors to support the many affected by the attack. They partnered with community professionals to treat the invisible wounds inflicted by this senseless attack. The men and women of the 99th Medical Group linked arms with first responders, hospitals, and the community to make life-saving contributions to an extraordinary response to an unfathomable tragedy. The actions of this group of extraordinary airmen, without regard for their own safety, demonstrates their commitment to our core value of service before self. In recognition of their heroic response to the October 2017 Las Vegas mass casualty shooting, the 99th Medical Group, 99th Air Base Wing is being honored with the 2018 Heroes of Military Medicine Ambassador Award.
On 1 October, I happened to be sitting in my living room. My sister and her husband were visiting, and my 2 nieces were attending the Route 91 concert. So there was a personal connection to 1 October, as I had 2 nieces that were involved in this incident. And then immediately I thought, as it continued to drag on, we weren't really sure exactly what was going on because we were watching it live, that I might have airmen that were attending that concert.
Well, myself and Airman Wilson were at the concert. We were in the middle of the left-hand side of the stage when the shooting started.
Sergeant Venegas and myself, we knew it was gunshots, and you heard it all at once, and everybody looked confused. We got down on the ground pretty quickly. Yeah, then the lights went black, and you saw Jason Aldean run off the stage.
And then we knew we were going to get trampled, so we got up and just took off.
We jumped over a gate, and we got behind a cop car.
And stayed in there for a while, and that's where we saw our first victim.
There was a man that was being carried, and his whole arm was just blown apart. And
that was the first type of situation that I've been in. I work in the clinic, and then I worked in labor and delivery before, so we don't see too many open wounds like that.
Sergeant Venegas instantly put pressure on it, and her hand went down. And then the gunshots started again, so we were instantly like, hey, we need to move him.
His friends had to help carry him out, and I kind of had his arm. And Airman Wilson was actually able, she almost got hit trying to flag down a car just to throw this guy in, because at this point the gunfire was still going off.
Gunshots, constant, it didn't stop. A van drove up, and she slowed down, and they were still carrying him, and we had the van take him to the hospital, and we instructed their friends to keep pressure on the arm.
The night of October 1st, I actually, for no particular reason, stayed up late. I checked social media one last time because I'm a millennial and that's what we do. But this time it was different. This time I started to see some unsubstantiated reports of something happening on the Las Vegas Strip.
The night of the shooting, I got a text from my flight commander asking if I was home and if I was okay. And I thought that was odd why he was waking me up to ask me that. So I checked my phone and checked for the news in Las Vegas and saw that the shooting had occurred a few hours before. This is about midnight.
My response was down to University Medical Center, the Level 1 Trauma Center here in Las Vegas, Nevada. The best way I can describe it was controlled chaos. It was what a trauma center like that trains for, prepares for. There were patients everywhere, multiple gunshot wounds. I think we treated over 100 in a short period of time.
Colonel Snook was the first person I saw when I got in. He was serving as a senior triage provider, and he also took some of the earliest patients to the operating room.
By the time I got there, there were quite a few patients already in the trauma resuscitation area, probably at least maybe 30 to 40 patients.
Well, I think it was just a mass casualty like we see in Afghanistan or deployed settings. I was in Afghanistan in 2015, and it just ran a lot like I remember from Afghanistan, just everybody pitching in, coming in together, and getting the work done.
Nobody really seemed stressed. Nobody was out of control. The resources were never exhausted. Everybody was just doing their part, doing more than their part, working together as a well-oiled machine. When I got there, I checked in with Dr. John Files, the chairman of surgery, and asked him what I could do to help.
UMC Trauma, UMC Hospital for that matter, has a long-standing relationship with the 99th Medical, and we have a sustainment program for medical and resuscitative readiness. We had at least 2 or 3 ORs running with Air Force surgeons staffing the cases, and we had other ancillary personnel from Air Force helping out in nursing and respiratory therapy.
As in every day, the 99th Medical Wing and the SMART program are just a huge component of the care that we have here at UMC. And the impact that it has made, I can't even put it into words. I just know that when they're here, I can breathe a little easier.
I can't begin to tell you how thankful we were to have them. We needed everybody we could get.
The SMART program is integrating military personnel into civilian trauma centers to allow us to have exposure to the trauma that we'll see when we deploy.
We had to be sure that we had a team to come in that was fresh every 12 hours. We had to have a team ready to come in 7 a.m. the next day. We had to make sure that we could staff 12 on and 12 off for at least the next 10 days. And without their help, it would have been very difficult to meet those requirements.
Kind of what we train for in the military and what we see in the deployed environment is traumatic injuries, whether those are from gunshot wounds or improvised explosives. So I think that training was quite helpful. University Medical Center is a busy level 1 trauma center, and this night was not too dissimilar from other nights, with the exception of there were quite a lot more patients.
University Medical Center took care of over 100 victims, and if they arrived with a heartbeat, those victims survived. We had a total of six of our active duty medics from the 99th Medical Group that were attending the concert and provided first aid, tourniquets, bandages, and helped transport some of the patients to the local trauma center.
So once Sergeant Venegas and myself got the armed guy into the van over to the hospital, we from that time separated because there was a lot of people lined up on the sidewalks, and we knew that we were better working separately than in a pair just because there were so many victims.
Our military training definitely did help. We have went through the same training. We both knew the exact same steps to take with triage, with wound care.
The military training, it has helped us just because they always talk about, when you're in combat or in war, and you don't go to a concert and expect that. And the fact that, we knew instantly what it was, and we had our guard up, and there was no question about it. It wasn't fight or flight, it was fight.